Hey guys, welcome to the Mage Tower tips and tricks for the Guardian Druid. That's right, it's not going to be a guide because I know there are like 100 of other guides out there from people who did it months ago when it was a lot harder. It was hard for me too, and we'll go over that in a little bit. But I'm mostly going to be focusing on tips and tricks, things that I wasn't actually able to find in other guides and everything out there, things that I learned for myself, and things that I wish I knew before I started all of this. And I'm hoping that my experience was going to help you guys do it a lot quicker. It is a little bit easier with a higher item level since we're already in Argus. I did this before on Taurus, but during Argus, so I did get a few things from Argus. I had, in terms of items, I had Echo Wraith, which increases the balance of affinity effect. Well, balance of affinity, the Sarah's gift and whatever, increases its effect by 75%, which does indeed help. And the other legendary was Soul of the Arch Druid, which gave me the Soul of the Forest talent, which, I mean, it did help, but it wasn't important. It wasn't do or die or make or break or anything like that. I had around about 910 item level, probably like 909, 908, something like that. I don't really remember. I didn't have any tier sets as far as I know. It did happen quite a while ago, and I didn't really have any sockets or gems into my gear, so I wasn't super decked out. So it's possible, even though I had a higher item level than most, my gear wasn't properly optimized. Although, concerning the buffs, I did have the flask. I'm not sure if I had the runes for that run, but I did use a lot of runes, and most importantly, the bear tartar food. That's very important. When you eat it, it gives a buff. When you kill a thing, it gives you a boost of speed for a short amount of time. And since you're going to be rotating, killing eyes, killing infernals, killing all that good stuff, that buff is going to have a very high uptime. Ideally 100%, but probably not 100%, but that's still okay. Now, that is for the gear. Let's take a quick look at the talent build and explain a couple of choices for the talents, which you probably already know. There are a couple of variations to this. This is the build that I used. Don't take note of the Soul of the Forest. This is from the ring, although I did have it for the run as well. I had Blood Frenzy for the extra rage regeneration, which helps you with Iron Fur, helps you with Frenzy regeneration, although in the first phase, you're gonna have a lot of rage, so that's not gonna matter that much. But in the second phase, sometimes if you make a mistake, you're gonna start spamming Iron Fur and Frenzy Regeneration. You're gonna panic a little bit, if you're like me. And the extra rage is gonna help. Extra rage is gonna help, no doubt. I've seen people do it with Brambles, that can also work, but I found that the numbers didn't quite add up, and I've tried both. I didn't really feel like these made any difference, so that's not important. What is important is the level 30 talent, which is Guttural Roars. Guttural Roars, it gives you a cooldown reduction for Stampeding Roar, which is the movement speed buff. You're going to use this to get out of situations, the oh shit button. You pop this, you get to an orb super quick, you get out of the fire super quick. That's really good when you don't have the food buff up. That's very important. It keeps uptime on move speed, since this is a kiting challenge more than anything. And of course, it increases the range on Incapacitating Roar, which is the AoE silent. Sometimes you're going to find yourself in a situation where the mob that you want to interrupt is too far away. You cannot get closer, and this helps a lot. Wild Charge, I feel like if you have to use this, you're kind of not really paying attention to the Infernals, or you're not in a good movement rotation or something like that. And that's most likely going to get you killed anyway, since in a 15-second cooldown, not very reliable, and the upsides from Guttural Rolls just outshine the Wild Charge. Now, level 45, also very important one, Balance Affinity. This is how you get things done. You increase the range of your abilities by 5 yards, which matter a lot, because you can actually spam Thrash, and I think Swipe. I don't know if Swipe is going to work without the legendary chest, but Thrash is going to hit the Inquisitor in the first phase outside of the Aura of Decay or whatever it's called. That gives you the stacking debuff. Very important. Of course, it helps with all of the other adds, since all you're going to do is kite. It's going to help with everything. So, Balance Affinity, very important, guys. Let's see, Mighty Bash, no other choice really. I don't think Typhoon is gonna help, or Mass Entanglement. Mighty Bash helps as a, oh shit, I don't have my silence button, and you need to interrupt that drain life or that cruel cast spell, I forgot what its name was, where it's the reflective shield or whatever, where you heal him if you damage him or anything like that. You can also interrupt one of his annihilates, the first or the second. It delays all of the other annihilates, gives you time to damage more, gives you time to get those survival instincts back up and other things. Don't mind the shifting cosmic sliver, I didn't have it at the time. And all of that good jazz. Galactic Guardian, also very important. This is you can get either of the two, either Incarnation or Galactic Guardian. It changes your playstyle a little bit. I've tried both. I found Galactic Guardian to be a little bit more smooth. Since you can one-shot the ice with one Galactic Guardian proc, it deals a lot more damage to Infernals far away. Whenever I had a Galactic Guardian, I tried to aim it at a very far away Infernal that I couldn't reach with Thrash to make sure that I kill everybody as quickly as possible. Incarnation is a bit tougher to use since you will have to kind of time it. If you use it at the beginning in the first phase to burst the Inquisitor down, it does end the first phase super quick, so it's very good. But then by the time you get to Cruel, it's going to be on like a 1 minute and 30 second cooldown, 2 minutes, depending on how much damage you have. And it's not going to help you very much. If you save it for Cruel, then phase 1 gets considerably harder. Your damage output is a lot smaller and you won't be killing eyes as much, and one eye is enough to knock you off the platform. Now, Guardian of Elune, the only good choice here because it empowers your Frenzy regeneration that heals you, and the Iron Fur for the second phase. Iron Fur is not really that good in first phase, but talking about Guardian of Elune, you will want to Frenzy regeneration only after being buffed by Guardian of Elune. You have 3 stacks. If you play perfectly, you don't really need all the 3 stacks all of the time. But, I mean, we're all people, we make mistakes, and if you find yourself in an oh shit situation, an extra stack of Frenzy regeneration can help you, and you can preserve that extra stack if you use them properly and empower them so you can get the maximum amount of healing. The same thing goes for Iron Fur in the second phase. Cruel's auto attacks don't deal as much damage, but if you misuse your defensive cooldowns and you're stuck with only Iron Furs, popping 2 or 3 stacks of Iron Furs can save you. And the last bit is Rend and Tear, the only talent valid. You basically have increased damage on Thrash, right? Thrash also increases your damage dealt. Well, Thrash increases damage dealt. Plus, it gives you damage reduction for each Thrash application. Since you're going to be spamming Thrash, that's going to work out. Plus, if you have Lufus, which I didn't have, it's going to be even better since it will stack 5 times. That's also very good. Now, this is it for the talents. We'll quickly go into the fight and I'll explain the mechanics for you in a bit. Let's see. Quickly joining into the fight, we're gonna start with the Boomkin form since it gives you extra range. And you do want to pull the Inquisitor closely to Velen because Velen does more damage in melee range. Now, as you can see, you just try to maximize as much damage as you can with a range. And initially is going to spawn one eye, which if you can, try to Moonfire down. But once he starts spamming Drain Life, if you time this properly, you can jump in. And then once the Nether Horrors join in, you can just spam all of your stuff. Pop Rage of the Sleeper, which gives you healing on your ability, so you don't need to pop anything. I did have to pop 1 Frenzy Regeneration, and then you just run around Varus. Now, a quick rundown on the tactics. As you can see, you have 2 types of mobs so far. You have the Eyes, which will push you off the platform if you're not looking at them when they stop channeling the eye beam. So you need to hit them only with Moonfire because you don't take damage for anything else like this. See, you have to make sure that you're looking at them. The Infernals, as you can just see, they spam a Smash ability. If you get hit by that and they only spam it in front of them, then you get pushed off the platform. And then there's the Nether Horrors, which you can see they're the purpley guys. Once they spawn, they head straight to Velen and they start casting the Nether Storm, like right here. Once they finish casting the Nether Storm, then they're going to channel it, and that's actually the part that's going to deal damage. So you want to interrupt them right when they start channeling, or right the second they finish casting Nether Storm. Very important. Now, the Infernals also have an AoE around them that will deal damage and I believe slow you, so you don't want to go in melee range of the Infernals ever. Now, You're going to be going in to interrupt Varus when he does the drain life, and you're going to get stacks of decay or whatever that is. The stacks don't deal damage, but they do reduce your maximum amount of HP, and the orbs do not clear the stacks. And the more stacks you have on yourself, the more damage you take from the Inquisitor's Mind Rends. And that's not gonna be good. So you want to keep going around. If you stay like right at the edge of the thing, of the patch of damage thing, you can reach Inquisitor with your Thrash. And if you have the Echo Wraith chest that I had, I think you can even reach him with Swipe. Now, when you transition into Cruel phase, you want to transition with as few Infernals as possible. Ideally with 0, it's good to delay damage on Inquisitor and just transition with 0 Infernals. 2, more than 2 is going to be too tough. Now, this is what Cruel starts to be doing. That's probably what's going to kill you most. The jumps that he does on you leaves a patch of shit on the ground that slows you and deals a crap ton of damage. You want to be continuously moving for that so you don't end up in the middle of the thing, because if you do end up in the middle of the thing, then you're most likely going to die. You gotta watch out for these little purpley lines that go across. They push you, they don't damage you. You can jump over them, so that's very important to remember. You don't have the eyes anymore, but you do have the nether horrors, which will come, and I think they're even harder to aggro, so you need to make sure that you're always close to Velen. Now, when you kite Cruel, you want to kite him in a circle fashion so that the middle of the platform is always clear of those kinds of patches. Since you will have to rush to Velen, you want to rush to an orb, and you don't want to have to run through things like right now, see? And as soon as they finish casting, you interrupt again, and it's very important to make sure that your global cooldown is not on, because 1 second of global cooldown can mean you lose about half HP if you're not interrupting them. Now, Cruel is gonna consistently cast Annihilate and Twisted Reflection, very important. First, Twisted Reflection, you need to interrupt it almost every time. If one goes off, it's over. Cruel is gonna heal up, and the Annihilation stacks on you are still going to stack up, and they're not going away, so you're dead. You won't have time or damage to finish the fight. Now, the Annihilation is very important. You can only take as many as 4. I think the 4th or the 5th will one-shot you. I currently have 3 right now. So you have to time your defensive super quick and try to... You can stun to delay, you can pop Survival Instincts, you can pop whatever, and keep kiting, keep doing the damage. Now, I'm pretty close. This is where I had to interrupt one of the nether horrors because I was getting pushed, so it happens every time. You have to be a little bit reactive. Everybody makes mistakes. You have to be a little bit lucky as well. This is the 4th Annihilate, which killed me, as you can see. But I had enough dots on Cruel to make sure that he falls down all the way. This is a quick rundown of the fight. Very important one more time for phase 2. The Annihilate, you gotta keep in mind that you cannot take a 4th one. I think you can mitigate a 4th with maybe a Survival Instincts and about 2 or 3 stacks of Iron Fur. If you mess up and you don't have any of them left, then it's over. That's it. Now, let's talk about a couple of tips that I would like you to know. We did go over most of the things. Now, let's talk about a few more tips that I think you should know before doing this as well. Personally, I died a lot more due to Infernal knockbacks than any of the Cruel things in the 2nd phase. Cruel killed me, I don't know, 5 times maybe? 10 times at the very most. I died like 20, 30 times just to Infernals pushing me off the platform. So it's very important to keep that in mind. You kind of want to damage them. You don't really want to focus on them too much since they do have that melee AoE aura that you don't want to get into. But you do want to spam Moonfires. Go out of your way a little bit and spam a Moonfire instead of, let's say, mangling Cruel. Now, whenever you kite and you go past like another horror or an Infernal, pop a mangle super quick and keep that Guardian of Elune buff on you just in case you need to pop a Frenzy Regeneration super quick. That helps you a lot. Now, you can use your interrupt as a really small charge to go over things. Make sure that if you're getting pushed out of the fight and you do want to use that interrupt, you don't have to use it anytime soon afterwards to interrupt an important cast, otherwise it doesn't really save you, it just prolongs the inevitable. Now, the nether horrors aggro when they spawn in the 1st phase. They aggro from a mangle or a melee attack, sometimes I think even for Thrash. So you need to go to one of them mangle another horror, and then as soon as they finish spawning, they will immediately come to you. They will ignore Velen. It doesn't usually happen like this in the second phase, and honestly in the second phase you don't really have the time to go to a specific point on the edge of the map and mangle an Infernal, since you do have a lot more things to worry about mechanic wise. Now, this is about it regarding the Guardian for the Mage Tower challenge. The form is really cool. It's very satisfying. Personally, I think I've learned a little bit more about tanking as a Druid. It did help me smooth out my defensives. It did help me understand my range, my kiting capabilities. The form is really nice, as you can see. The animations are not that many. I'm a little bit disappointed on that front. He just does this really the swipe, but if you do get like a thrash proc, like a double proc, he does do it with both hands, and it kind of looks super cool when he does that. But other than that, it looks really nice. It's not as easy as I thought. People said that, I've heard people saying that the Guardian Druid is easy, other people saying that it's one of the hardest, so I don't really know. But I can tell you for sure, it's one of the most satisfying things I've ever done in WoW. So I wish you guys the most of luck. Do it, it's fun. Try to do it now when you don't get too much gear yet. I am 919 now, but the lower your item level is, the more satisfying it's going to be. And be prepared for a lot of tries. Like, I've tried about 50 times, more or less. I have no idea, I've lost track. At least 40-50 times to get it done. I did look at other guides. I wanted to try it all myself and not look at guides, but I didn't really have the time to go through hundreds and hundreds of tries, because I appreciate that's how much it would have cost me if I didn't look at anything online. So I'm hoping that you guys learned something from this. I'm hoping you won't make the same mistakes that I did, but keep in mind the bear form is super strong. Just don't give up and you'll get it. Until next time, guys, peace. Good luck on your challenges. Bye-bye.